So I didn't want to make it too obvious what's going on. There's a Trump supporting party or so going on here at our abandoned dead end mall. Now I'm gonna continue to do my laps around the mall, because I always do just about every day, for exercise reasons, for health purposes. Now, this is the type of stuff I'd be trying to tell people, up in the East Coast, and for those that follow this page who are up in the East Coast, down here in the South, in the town that I live in, for those that remember back during last year during Nasus Live when I was giving a history lesson on race, I live in Colombia, so back in the 1940s is where the first race riot started here in this town. And the town next to us called Pulaski is where the Klan first originated at. You're gonna have a lot of racist white people in this town that support Trump like that. Now they haven't said nothing to me, they haven't bothered me any. It is a lot of older people, but I'm not worried because I am a Class A licensed carrier, which I can carry out in public like that, just in case shit does happen. And if we, me as a mixed colored child, who's black and reddish, Indian, with Jamaican, South African, and Egyptian and Italian, I have been on both sides of the fences from black and white a lot. And I can tell you this right now. Yes, a lot of other people that I've been seeing have been avoiding that area. The cops will not shut it down. If it was, let's say it's like a group of us, who were all black, doing our own little gathering, our own little party here, right? Now, eventually this place is still managed, so we would have to get some paperwork filled out and make a payment. Well, eventually the cops would come and shut that down, and might even end up one of us getting hurt. Well, if you're white down here in the South, it's not for all white people, it's for you're pretty much to do what you please like that. Again, I'm sorry for those that couldn't see it that well. I did not want to make it obvious that I was recording that, but that's just how shit goes. And I stumbled onto things like that before in the past by myself, and I used to roll with the rowdy group, and most of us would try to avoid that, but sometimes when you're going to a place, maybe you just gotta cut through there and hope for the best. Like I said, I'm not worried. They haven't bothered me yet. I'm gonna keep it that way, and I don't think they're gonna be dumb enough to do something when there's other form of businesses. But that's just how.
Travis with him, man. Hey, is there a there?
That's just how it goes. But yeah, we got a whole damn. We got a whole rally over there, so a lot of country music and stuff going on. So for those that follow me here on this page from the East Coast, during times it does get scary when it comes to gatherings like that, because they're more so privileged than anything. And this is just how scarce a lot of it can be, but again, it's in a public place outside, and you got other businesses over here with people outside as well from a place Give Me Five and a motorcycle shop. So, you know, if something were to happen, it'd be too obvious, right? It'd be a lot of, you know, witnesses. But, you know, when you come down to the South, man, it's the type of shit you gotta watch out for. You know, racism is more worse down here than it is up north. And I had my fair share of that. You know, of being a mixed black, colored, red Indian child here in America down south. I may have my headphones in, but, you know, I am prepared for the bullshit to defend my life if need be. You know, let's hope it don't come to that. So, that being said, man, I'm out. I'm going back to what I'm going to do, is to do my laps, and it's 10 o'clock. So, I got a whole nother hour. See ya. So, video clip that you guys saw about 5-6 minutes long was, you know, took, I don't know, a couple minutes ago. As I was saying, it was like a little Trump gathering party. It lasted from, I guess they started at, 8:40, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock hour, and it's around, I think, almost 10:30, about several hours. And I'm doing this video, you know, for my people over on the East Coast that are not familiar with a lot of the racism that actually goes on here down south. I have a video breaking down the history of racism and the back story of that. But, you know, I have a video breaking down the history of that. And, you know, I've done that type of video before on live last year. And I'm going to try to find that video. I hope it's still on my channel here, and I'm going to put an end screen link video to that. But, you know, when you're, you know, down here in the South, when there's gatherings like that, sometimes, you know, if you're, you know, your usual group of people that you're going to roll with, you know, when you're a colored person down here in the South, you know, black, you know, it's either going to be 4 or 3 people, you know, and sometimes, you know, it really is best to avoid those things, you know, to kind of go around. And sometimes if you can't go around it, yeah, you're going to have to go through it physically and hope for the absolute best, you know, with that. And, you know, I know that, I guess there's some kind of car thing going on today, and, you know, it happens just about every year. I don't go to it. There's no reason for me to even go to it anyways. Yes, it is like muscle cars and, you know, things like that, but a lot of those, you know, type of car gatherings, yes, you're gonna have a lot of, you know, bullshit involved, especially with, you know, bad white people. And a lot of us, you know, down here black, you know, we tend to really avoid, you know, those gatherings because there's nothing there for us, and, you know, we're not welcome to those things. You know, we're not welcome to those things. I remember a couple of years ago there was a white supremacy fight up in I think Lewisburg or Murfreesboro, just for the white people who were fighting amongst each other legally, not illegally, but legally. And we got things like that down here in the South that are mainly celebrated like that can be very scaresome at times. It's like we have a holiday here in Columbia called Meal Day, and this year we can't have it because of COVID. And what Meal Day is the celebration of slavery, where you were trading slaves for goods, and they would work them like mules. That ethic did change over time to where they have like a parade. A good majority of the black community comes out for the parade. Some go out to the fairgrounds as well every year, to where you go to these booths to like buy either like clothes, jewelry, things that are made out of wood, or you can go to like garage sales. But every year, when we first came here, because I was very young and have been in here for this town about almost, I think, 29, almost 30 years, because I'm about to be 31, so there's definitely that. When first got experience too, they actually had good stuff. They actually had a lot of different things. A lot of the garage sales were better, but over time, things got crappier, got worse. It really wasn't worth doing. And some folks, go to stay home, in terms of those who are black more than me, or they go to church and have their celebration. And some even moved out, because believe it or not, every year down here in the South during Meal Day here in the state of Tennessee, and I believe this to be true, there's a black person that does get kidnapped every year and gets hung by some of the Klan people. Even though you don't hear about it, it does happen, and they can get away with it. They can extremely get away with it. You take gatherings that we would like to do down here as colored people, but we cannot do it, because then, it really gets shut down to the utmost fullest. It really does. It gets shut down very heavily. If, like trying to go to like a, one I can say, there's like no more clubs down here. And when there was, a lot of cops just would shut it down so early, because it would be hip hop involved, a lot of music. The same thing when it came to bars. Cops would come in, shut that down pretty early as well, all because there were black people there. We tried to do gatherings in public parking places like this in the past, and we would have to talk to whoever would be the manager of the building, and pay a certain amount of fee, get some paperwork done. But it would always shut down early, because then the cops would come around and shut it down and say, okay, well, this paperwork doesn't mean anything. Same thing with block parties. We can't even really do block parties down here because of that mess. And Not only that, a lot of, underage kids like to try to, sneak into block parties, and that causes some things. And, what that causes amongst that is, underage drinking, drugs, and of course you got underage sex that does happen. Because of those things, you can't have them either. And especially when it gets shut down and we ain't even hardly an hour in. So as a black mixed colored child down here in the South, us as black people, we can't do gatherings like that here. If you're white, you can do them gatherings, man, and not have no problems because law enforcement is not going to shut it down. Now, me, I do my laps around the Dead End Mall. That's not what it's called. I call it Dead End Mall because it is nothing here. There's only a restaurant, 2 stores. One of them, like I said, is Give Me 5, and a bike place. And then back of it's a cancer hospital. And they're turning the rest of the place into a cancer hospital. So, I do about 3.5 hours every day, Monday through Saturday. And, I experienced both sides of the parties in my life, again, from being a mixed colored child my entire life. So even now as a mixed colored adult, in my very early 30s, might add you in, it's very difficult at times to get accepted, because in one area of this, it was hard for me to be accepted by some of my black friends at times and hanging out with them because I was mixed. Just like some white people didn't accept me back then because I was mixed with black. So you have that divided separation. Now over time things, will eventually, they'll look at okay, that was ridiculous. So, and over time, you may get accepted, because people are going to grow to that person depending on who they are and things like that. And, what's your cup of tea? But when it comes down here, again, just for trying to do things, man, as black people down here in the South, for those who are watching this from the East Coast, it is very difficult. We got to hold it at churches. We ain't even safe at our own churches down here in the South either. Or we got to book things at a place called the Park, which is a building in a park for reunions or church celebrations for the black community. And that's the only place that, we do honestly have here as, black people. And it does get very, scaresome because, again, you never know what can happen during those gatherings. And sometimes bullshit pops off at some of the gatherings that us black people, because we invite the wrong people, man. We invite the wrong people, and not everybody down here in the South who is white is going to be a bad person, but there's some who are. And that's why I do recommend, to people who from up north, don't move down here in the South, man, because there's nothing here. There's nothing that's going to be here. You're not going to have the same happiness or celebrations that you're able to do back up north. I can tell you that right now. When it comes 4th of July, for example, it's hard for us as black people to enjoy that, because when we're lighting fireworks in our own block, on our own neighborhood with a party, it does get shut down quick. So, we're not able to fully enjoy those things. With that being said, I am out, and I'm going to try to find that video that I told you guys about. Hopefully I can find it. But with that being said, I'm out. Peace. To add to the end a little bit, the white influence down here in the South is very, very heavy. Like, very heavy, man. Because if you're white down here, like, you're privileged to do whatever you want and to get away with it. But when it comes to being black, because the white influence is so heavy down here, that's why a lot of, black men, black women dress white to sound white and to hang out with their white friends, because the power of the white influence is so strong down here. They do it out of scarcism, if that's even a word, and to be brainwashed by it. The same thing when it comes to some white people down here in the South, especially young white teenage men, especially going into their 20s. The hip-hop influence of the black culture is strong. That's why we have so many culture vultures of white young men down here acting black to pretend that they are, a thug or a gang member, and, having 3 or 4 kids with a black woman. And he brainwashes the black woman because behind closed doors, she gets abused. There's a person down here that's so fucking much of a culture vulture, people really think this white guy is a blood. They really think, he really also thinks he's black. He sags. He's white. He's not mixed. And it just goes to show again, what has more strength, the white influence or the black influence, man. If you ask me, it's going to be the white influence, because it's always going to overshadow the black people, the black community, down here. And back, and a long time ago, if you were a white guy around black people, they would call you a nigger lover. And because of that, you would get killed. But with today's time, a white person can be, or want to be black, still hang out at those Trump gatherings and have no consequences dealt to them. It does get very, the lines do get blurred. But with that being said, man, I am truly out. Peace.